What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering with new friend Elijah Schaffer down here in Fort Worth, Texas, showing me a good time. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for coming over to my apartment.
I know, it's great. I mean, like, there were a lot of homeless people outside, which was unnerving, but overall it was pretty nice.
I imported them from LA. I needed a lot of homeless people, and then also I brought a bag of used hypodermic needles.
I noticed that was a nice touch.
And I just kind of sprinkled them around with a little bit of human feces at the front door, and it just smells like home and feels like home.
Yeah, it was, you know, I covered a story 2 weeks ago, I think, when Emmys were happening, and LA was pushing out all the homeless so that the Hollywood superstars who are talking about this homeless issue and global warming, they wouldn't have to step over the homeless in Hollywood. I thought that was a nice touch. I didn't want to see them. But
did you see the worst part about that? Was that, people always ask, why'd you leave LA? Why'd you move out of LA? What about it? I go, because people want LA to be bad. You know, there was mass protests when they try to clear public parks of homeless encampments with hundreds of people. And this is not because I'm against poor people. This is the homeless in LA, many of them are not just poor, they're transients. People don't get that. They're professional street dwellers. And there was protests and people were attacking the police trying to clear the park. So LA deserves what it gets.
Yeah.
They deserve it.
And now I see many of those people coming here to Texas. How do you feel? Is Texas going to go purple now?
As a transient from California, I would say, according to recent polls that I read, almost 7 out of 10 people that come from California are actually voting red. Okay. So it's not changing. But I'll tell you what it is changing. House prices. Because Californians are buying an average houses on the market for 1 day, and they're paying cash for the homes. Because when you sell a 2-bedroom condo for $1.2 million in LA with an equity of $800,000, and then you come here and you find a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house for $500,000, you think that's cheap, but that home was $350,000 just a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So it's become sort of a hellhole like that.
Austin's particularly bad. One of my Uber driver was telling me that Austin is basically bursting at the seams. I saw they just passed they overturned the camping on the streets thing in Austin recently now.
Oh, street camping is what they're calling it?
Yeah, street camping or homelessness. But yeah, they overturned that. So
transient. So you got to use the word, Jeremy.
Sorry.
Because homeless, people always will get you too, and they'll be like, why would you want to income shame or get someone when they're down or whatever. No, I'm not talking about the homeless. Homeless are cool. They can be helped. They can find government programs.
Right.
They can get out of that position. A transient is someone who has chosen a career path as a professional street heckler and public drug user. That's who we got to get rid of.
Yeah, I always find it anybody who would shame you, you would need only ask them an inconvenient fact about what the percentage of gender breakdown is of homeless. And ask them if they believe in male privilege, because I think it's something like 70 or 80% of all homeless are men.
Most people who are on the street are men. Most victims of violent crime are men. Most people who commit suicide are men. Most people who die in wars are men. Where's the dominance here precisely?
Uh-oh. But speaking of inconvenient truths, what I wanted to talk to you about was deplatforming, demonetization. Obviously, you've had some spicy takes. You've appeared in some spicy areas, and as a fake news person, and by the way, you're an actual news person, credentialed and everything. What do you think the end game is here with YouTube, with kind of selective censorship of inconvenient truths?
I think YouTube has become sort of like that white guy who's like, wow, this mayonnaise is spicy. You're like, sir, that is egg and fat. That's not spicy. But you're the running joke goes, and it's well, white people can't handle spice. And I feel like YouTube has become the moral equivalent where it's wow, Elijah, that was a really spicy take. And you're we're talking about 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
It's oh, you mean because I said there was 2 genders? And then it's I think we just changed the threshold for what is acceptable. And so what's hard about it for someone like me is I just make jokes, and sometimes edgy jokes. I don't hate anyone. I'm not against any skin color. I have no problems with the Jews. I have no problems with the LGBTQ community. I don't have any issues with anybody. But because I don't have issues and I see everyone as American, I can make some jokes every once in a while about certain people or hang out. And now YouTube has said that even if you're clearly being humorous, specifically for Caucasian people, there's a different set of rules, and they've just said, like, for a channel like mine, like, look, you're not violating any rules, you're not violating any guidelines, but we have invisible guidelines. It's called our personal opinion, and if you don't believe our same political agenda, so we're going to bury and completely make your channel invisible. So the end game is, like, I say, just survive as long as possible until they zuck you off.
Yeah, I think that's a good mantra to live by.
Yeah.
By the way, your YouTube channel, which will be linked in the description and the pinned comment below, is called Slightly Offensive. And it's a part of the Blaze network, right? A family of channels. But you do a show that is syndicated, not just on YouTube, but on television and radio. And, you know, I think it's interesting. If you saw, did you see that Susan Wojcicki gave herself a free speech award 2 weeks ago? And in her acceptance speech, she was lauding how algorithmically they were able to remove 1 million videos or 3 million videos a month or something. It was either 3 million videos a month or 1 million. And this was like in her acceptance speech about free speech. And I think that while I would like to see an internet bill of rights, I know that will never happen. I know that the First Amendment will never extend to the internet like we might want it to, because you have this manual oversight, which is what happened to your channel. So as somebody who was on the ground reporting in January, you know, tell me a little bit about that, and then essentially what happened to your channel after that.
Yeah, so this is what's really interesting is now on the internet, you can get in trouble on a platform for something that you did in real life. And even if that thing you did in real life doesn't violate your country's constitution and is actually not even illegal at all, you can actually still get in trouble. And that's what happened to me. Is basically, this is basically, I was going to hand this to you. So I'm not putting this on the internet. I can't show you this, but check this out. This is a federal credential. What does it say on the top there of the credential? It's hard to read because it's a
United States ID. Senate and House of Representatives.
Okay, exactly. So I actually have a Senate and congressional ID card from the federal government. Background checks, FBI, everything involved. I had to go to DC to get it in person and give all my information. I mean, I have about as legit of a press credential as you can get, especially in a government building.
As a private citizen too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not connected. I'm not a CIA shill or something. I got this, and it took a lot of manpower. So when I'm going to report on something, I'm thinking I'm not only doing my job, but I'm recognized by the United States government as someone who's credited to do my job. So when I went to go report on the January, events, I didn't expect them to unfold the way they did. I don't think you did.
No.
I documented them faithfully. I documented them alongside the New York Times, AP News. Some of my footage, I mean, we're talking about, dude, like, these things got into the hundreds of millions of views, like in a day. I mean, that's what we're talking about, almost 100 million views on this footage. Widely seen, circulated, used with the New York Times to build timelines. I get home and I have emails in my inbox that says, "Hey Elijah, would you like to comment on the fact that about your recent YouTube demonetization?" And I went, "Huh?" So I went onto my YouTube and I was like, because I'm not even correlating the fact that I have a YouTube channel and I'm a credentialed reporter, and sometimes I'll talk about my reporting on my YouTube channel, but those are two different jobs.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, that's weird. I'm monetized still on YouTube, and so I'm like, go to bed, shaken up. Everything that happened, I don't need to get into it, but it was a shaken day for someone who's there. It's a lot to witness.
Yeah.
And I wake up, and what do you know? I have an email at about 9 a.m. saying, "Hey Elijah, we'd just like to let you know that we reviewed over half of your videos violate our policy standards," which they didn't have name one video.
Of course.
They didn't name one, just over half. It's like, oh, we have 500 videos?
A curbzillion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 trillion, videos violate our policy. And I woke up then, and guess what? There were articles on Google about my demonetization that were published before I got demonetized.
Isn't that so sketchy? Because without naming names, there's a couple of outlets. No, I will. Like the Daily Beast.
It was
Mashable, Daily Beast.
BuzzFeed.
Here's what they'll send a spicy email to YouTube. "Hey, would you like to comment on this evil person doing something terrible?" And I think for YouTube, it's just easier to say, "Oh, well, we've demonetized them," as opposed to giving any kind of critical review. It's the same reason that even when my videos get demonetized, it's almost never the right reason. They'll say there was nudity in a video, which it's clearly not. And everything's a total mess, which I could even accept. But then when you have like the hand of God coming in and yeeting channels,
like
it's
a
frustrating.
bobcat, just
Yeah, I mean, like
yeet it across.
Oh my God, the bobcat! Oh my God!
what is the? I mean, why? Technically, from a credentialed standpoint, you're no different than any New York Times reporter that was there that same day. Yet the New York Times YouTube is fully monetized and also
you
promoted.
Know what they wrote. So I read the headlines and it says, YouTuber profits. YouTuber profits from YouTube while breaking into
of course,
into the building.
Yeah,
and I'm going, hold up. Well, first of all, you could have been a journalist, which they're not. They're bloggers. They're hit job activists. If you were a journalist, you would have called me and been like, hey, as a YouTuber, would you have any comments on this?
Yeah.
And I would have said, actually, let me send you a scanned copy of my credential. I'm a reporter doing a news job that day on company dollars and on assignment from the news desk. But okay, don't mind that. It's like this is like the equivalent, man. It's like what they do to like an average person is like, let's just say they like write an article and then it's like, oh, someone's just having like, regular physical relations with their wife. And they write the article like, Elijah Schaffer caught in bed with a woman. And then it's like, oh, but you left out that was my wife.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, like, you make it sound like there's a scandal, but there's no scandal. You've invented a fake scandal. That's what they did with me. And I saw immediately. Subs dropped, views dropped, everything. My channel just, like, disappeared into the algorithm somewhere. My Twitter at the same time got locked at the exact same place. And I received another email that day that said, would you like to comment on being kicked off of Facebook and Instagram? And I'm like, I'm not kicked off of Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
A few hours later, deleted. It's to the point where I write my company, I go, how can I get deleted off Facebook and Instagram? I didn't even post anything about that event there. I wasn't even, like, they got my personal Instagram and Facebook, like, where, like, I have pictures of my dead mom, who just died back in June. Like, they took away my memories of my mother and my family, like, pictures of my dog as, like, a threat to the community. And even our lawyers contacted them and were like, he's a credential reporter. And they're like, oh, it was a glitch.
Isn't that funny how often there was another Republican senator, or I think it was a senator today, that was removed, or she's running, and it was a glitch. It was a glitch. It's always a glitch, but it's always a glitch on one side of the aisle. They don't accidentally ban AOC, but they've accidentally banned a dozen prominent Republicans. Even Donald Trump, when they banned him, it was a accident, but it was certainly some employee.
Happened twice. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Is that like a month later, my Facebook and Instagram got deleted again, and then we're like, we went through this with you guys, and like, oh, it's something just like we'll make sure it doesn't happen again. It's a glitch, but it just got messed up again.
Oh, déjà vu.
Deja vu is usually a glitch in the Matrix. It happens when they change something.
Yeah.
And you're going, what's the worst part about this is that now you have, like, by the way, daily basis, some of these people writing articles talking about how they're intentionally trying to get independent journalists put in prison who were at the events that day.
Yeah.
Because they don't have, because what happened is they try to get me in prison. This is something people don't know. These journalists, for these people, actively tried to get me put in prison with the FBI and with the federal government. The problem with this was that if I was going to go to jail, then the New York Times was going to go to jail, then the AP News was going to go to jail, and that's a constitutional. This is a Supreme Court issue. Yeah. So of course they aren't doing it. They're not going to. Because
they did lock up some people though for a very long time. Was it one guy that just got out? He did like 90 days.
No bail.
No bail. Right.
Like as
they're
if
treating
like
these people
a domestic threat to the entire country.
Yeah. So let me ask you on your show. What are some of the things you cover there? What can I know we started to shoot an episode today, and by the way, I appreciate my viewers accepting. If you could see what the setup we have now is a laptop on top of a board game, and then this camera is on top of it. We're making it work.
Humidor,
yeah.
And you have like lines on your face now from the window.
Oh yeah.
I figured your audience, like my audience, where this is what you get. Like,
yeah.
Like, this is honestly the high quality material you can
I have two
expect.
camera angles. This is like the best I've ever done. So, and as I always ask my subscribers, if I give a recommendation to subscribe to a channel, I mean it. And so I do think that my viewers would really enjoy your content. And again, over at Slightly Offensive, and I'll leave the link in the description and pinned comment, but give them an idea of some of the stuff you talk about and some of the things you do.
Well, we talk about the things that you're not supposed to talk about because we've already been deplatformed many places and demonetized, and so there's no financial incentive. But thank God we have found ways to continue to make this happen.
Yeah.
When we talk about you know, a lot of civil unrest, and we cover it ourselves. We go out and document the civil unrest, and we actually, like, a lot of the videos you've probably already seen from the most intense clips on the internet. Probably half of them have come from myself and our team. We put ourselves in harm's way a lot of times. I've been jumped by BLM multiple times in the last year. I've had a broken leg from Department of Homeland Security. I've had a busted face from BLM peaceful protesters. I've had a concussion from Antifa. And so, I mean, we've had a lot of, you know, a lot of that stuff, but also talk a lot about social issues, cultural issues, the idea that, you know, it's one thing to tell people what you want to do behind closed doors, what you want to do, but now we have a militant alphabet group of people that are coming out and saying, if you don't condone and promote me, then I'm going to shut you down and ruin, cancel your whole life. And I'm against that kind of stuff. And I also don't really care about cancel culture because I already been canceled enough, and God's helped me to get through it. And so it's like, genuinely speaking, we are in a battle for our society, for our culture, a peaceful one, I would say. I wish it was peaceful, but the left has already been using a lot of means that is way less than peaceful. Fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah, so we come to attack them where it hurts, which is with the truth.
Well, I think that my audience, I think your content will fill in a lot of the stuff that I don't cover. I cover, like, pop culture and stuff like that. But we do cover...
Hey, we do too, though.
Yeah, right. And today, yeah.
A little more spicy, maybe.
It is more spicy. But
a little
like,
more mayonnaise.
Yeah, right. It's a little, yeah, it's white guy spicy. But I appreciate you coming in. It was good to talk about, you know, cancel culture and, you know, what it really looks like to get, you know, in my opinion, targeted, you know, and this happens, by the way, not only to you, but to many other people.
So many. And can I give a shout out to this?
Go ahead.
To the small creators who don't have lawyers, who don't have, like, and I'm not very big myself, but what I mean is, like, people who don't have resources that aren't have 1 million subs or whatever, like you, like, we know that you're getting zucked. We know that they're hiding your videos. Like, you're not alone. That shadow banning that people think you're exaggerating, like your family and your friends, we know, even if you aren't a creator and you're just a normal citizen that works a job and you make posts, you know why they're not getting the reach that they should be, because those ideas are not popular with the tech gods. So I'm just saying, we notice. We know it's not just us, it's you too.
Yeah, and your ideas may be you might call them slightly offensive. Yeah.
Probably more. The reality is a lot more offensive than what we're allowed to talk about on the internet.
Yeah, so check out Elijah's channel, Slightly Offensive, linked in the pinned comment below, and you'll probably be seeing a video of me over there as well.
You will. Yeah, make sure you look for that video, because you will see like a 1 hour extended version of Jeremy just letting loose, hopefully. And also, he may or may not be in costume.
Yes, that's right. That's a good thing to look forward to. And a potential OnlyFans account as well. But yeah, all right. Thanks, Elijah.
Thanks, Jeremy.